As the curtain closes on opening weekend, I'm already looking ahead with my FPL Gameweek 2 team, and I've potentially got a transfer that I need to make already. But I have had a very good start to the season. I'm answering all comments on this one, so get those in. Let's get this one to 500 likes and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Let's get into it. So it's been a pretty good start for me in FPL this season. Top marks for the defence, who all kept clean sheets. It was just unfortunate that Quansah got substituted at half-time to stop him picking up those Liverpool clean sheet points. But Trent managed to get himself a couple of bonus. Vardiol got a clean sheet as well. And Pope with a save point and 2 bonus points. I'm really pleased that I spent the extra 0.5 million to go with him. A very hard-earned clean sheet after that share red card early on in the game. Into the attack, and the trend continued with good scores from Diogo Jota and Bukayo Saka in my midfield, and returns from Isak and Haaland in my forward line. When the red card happened in the Newcastle game, I did fear for Isak and his ceiling, because it was a tough call for me whether to go Haaland or whether to go Isak captain. Fortunately, Haaland didn't punish me too much by not giving him the armband, only a couple of points in it between their two performances. 2 blanks in the midfield. Eze was absolutely robbed of a spectacular free kick goal that got ruled out by the referee. A poor decision made there. Smith Rowe largely anonymous for Fulham, but it did give me that involvement in the opening game. And moving forward, we're going to be in a situation where he's got great upcoming fixtures. So as it stands, 66 points. Points could change from here. And I'm hovering around the 1 million mark in overall rank. But rank isn't that significant this early into the season. Now, before we get into my potential transfers for FPL Gameweek 2, as always, every week we're going to look at the midweek fixtures. Just one team in action this midweek, and it's Chelsea on Thursday in the UEFA Europa Conference League qualifying. First of a 2-leg playoff to get into the main round of the event. They've got Servette at home this week on Thursday before travelling away next Thursday. Now, we've got no idea how full strength Chelsea will go for this one under Maresca. You'd think with the squad depth that they've got, they don't need to put out a really strong team. However, I think given the amount of numbers they've got in their squad at the moment, it's really important that they are competing in Europe this season as well as in the league. So if you own a Chelsea player, my recommendation would be to try and hold off on making transfers just in case any player availability changes between now and the Game Week 2 deadline. Looking at my transfer plans then for Game Week 2, and the one regret that I have is going with Quansah from Liverpool, who looked to be a good option on paper as a starting 4.5 million defender, but the dream only lasted 45 minutes before he got substituted at half-time. Slot said it was a tactical change. He definitely needed the presence of Konate to win more aerial duels. It's not absolutely certain that Quansah's lost his place. You would imagine against a less demanding attack, where in a game where Liverpool will have more possession and dominate the possession, Quansah would probably be the better pick. But we're going into every single game now with no guarantee that Quansah is going to be a starter, which we don't want, and especially because I've got Barco on my bench as well, the 4 million Brighton defender who failed to feature in their win against Everton. Looking at my bench now, the only option I've got to come in is Harwood Bellis. Now, he's got Forest at home this week, and Forest didn't really create a lot of chances against Bournemouth in their opening fixture, so it's not a bad decision to keep Quansah and just play Harwood Bellis this week. But I feel like there is an opportunity to attack instead of ruining my poor decision by bringing in the risky Quansah to start with. I need to make a transfer and turn it into a position of strength. Now, I am keeping an eye on the price changes, because this is the biggest driving factor to making a change, is that if Quansah was to drop in price to 4.4 million, then I can't in one move get to another defender that started the season priced at 4.5 million. Now, you can check all the predicted price changes over on Fantasy Football Hub. The link for that is in the description for this video, so it's well worth keeping an eye on, because if I can get all the way through to Saturday's deadline without having to make the move, then there is the potential that Quansah can stay. Looking at replacements then, and there are a few to consider. At Aston Villa, Jarell Quansah, £4.5 million. He did start the first game, having been away on England duty. I think Aston Villa are a defence that in general we can rely on. However, it's not the best fixture this week with Arsenal at home, so he's more of a good pick for the long term, but in the short term I'm not really sure what he can offer me. I'm also looking at Brighton's Lewis Dunk, £4.5 million. He again had a few fitness concerns, but started in game week 1. Brighton, of course, kept the clean sheet at Everton, and Dunk's an interesting one because he is a big aerial threat. He does occasionally take free kicks as well. He's the captain of the side, so he's absolutely nailed on. He's probably not the most exciting FPL pick, but he is a player that provides consistency in a side that we're expecting to do very well this season. Brighton do have 3 home games in their next 4, but they have got Manchester United at home this week and Arsenal away next week. So again, I'm not sure how much utility I'm going to get from him in the short term. The one that I'm really interested in is Fulham's Anthony Robinson, who plays as an attacking fullback in this Fulham side. Now, it's hard to judge Fulham based on their trip to Old Trafford, a difficult game, but again, they've got 3 home games in the next 4, including facing promoted Leicester and Ipswich in the next 2 game weeks. So I feel like Robinson provides me with great utility to attack the fixtures, but I am going to keep an eye on price changes and not make this transfer until I absolutely need to. Hopefully on Saturday morning, but if price changes mean that I need to make it sooner, then I of course indeed will do. Now, I did ask Fantasy Football Hub for my recommended transfer for this week. You can do this as well as a Hub member with 50% off right now. Win your league or your money back. The link for that is in the description to this video. The main piece of advice was the recommendation is to bank the transfer. Certainly the robot is feeling less concerned about price changes than I am. However, when I did ask it to look at the base replacements for Quansah, there was a few names that came up. We had Cash coming in first place, so a lot of love for the Aston Villa defence, and Pau Torres was also in there in third place, so that's 2 options from Aston Villa. But in second place it did give me Anthony Robinson, so a little bit of confirmation bias there. It's nice to use these AI recommended transfers to sense check your decision. I wouldn't use it as a starting point, but I would just have a look through and see whether your transfers make sense or whether there's a better move in the offing. Let's have a look at the team then for FPL Game Week 2, and I've got to be pleased with the defensive fixtures. Obviously, I've got Pope at Bournemouth away, but then my defence all with home games. We've got Trent at home to Brentford, we've got Vardiol at home to promoted Ipswich, and Robinson at home to promoted Leicester. It doesn't get to look much better than that. And I've got Harwood Bellis then on my bench for Forest at home as a good deputy if needed. Moving into the attack, and again, lots of players with home games. 5 of the 7. We've got Eze at home to West Ham, Smith Rowe at home to Leicester. Hopefully he can spark to life because he was disappointing against Manchester United. We've got Jota and Saka, who were the star performers for me from game week 1. And then up front, we've got Haaland, Isak and Solanke, all with favourable games, so I'm feeling really positive. Looking at captaincy then, and there's plenty of options on the table, especially those assets with home games. Saka and Jota should be in the conversation. I like Isak as well, away to Bournemouth, and Eze at home to West Ham. Looking at predicted points, Eze is predicted to score 6.9 points in game week 1 according to the Hub. Isak 6.1. Out in front though, Haaland 8.6 predicted points. For Ipswich at home, it does beg the question, should you consider the triple captain on him, given that no midweek fixtures for City to worry about? I think just with the personnel coming back, Rodri potentially missing for this game, it does just put me off that little bit, even though they did impress against Chelsea. But I think if you're a Haaland owner in FPL, which around 50% of managers are, I think it's an easy decision to give him the armband. And now this team does have a 95% rating on Fantasy Football Hub. It's predicted to score 70.1 points in Game Week 2. Remember, you can get all of this information plus the recommended transfers and the price changes as a member with 50% off memberships right now. Win your league or your money back. That offer's being extended until the end of the month. Do not miss it. Link in the description. If you've got any dilemmas for Game Week 2, I will be answering all comments on this one, so get those in and let's get this one to 500 likes. Subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll be back tomorrow with the deal sheet, so make sure you've hit that notify bell. Thank you for watching.